AEW's secret weapon has always been their crowds, as AEW have created a sort of synergy with the fans that enables electric moments to happen, and this has been seen with the electrifying debuts in AEW so far. The pandemic robbed some of this electricity, but nonetheless, the debuts in AEW managed to make you go. My name is Sonny the Jobber, and this is the top 10 most electric debuts in AEW history. Let's go! And kicking off the list at number 10, we have Awesome Kong. Awesome Kong debuted at AEW's Double or Nothing 2019, and Brandi Rhodes came out and she said that she didn't want a great match, she wants a match that is awesome. And then Awesome Kong walked out to a huge pop. She walked down with a menacing strut down the ramp with an intimidating aura and gaze. The crowd reaction was so big because there was no women's wrestlers in AEW at that point with any real mainstream name value, as she was Karma in WWE. And at number 9, we have Jake Hager. Jake Hager debuted on the debut episode of AEW's Dynamite, as there was a post-match kerfuffle between the Inner Circle and the Elite. Dustin Rhodes came down for the save, and then Jake Hager came out and laid him and everybody else out. And Jake Hager looked in the camera like he was holding in the gnarliest shit of all time, and the crowd went bananas. And We the People chants broke out as Jake Hager's face closed out the debut episode of AEW Dynamite. And at number 8, we have the Exalted One, Brodie Lee. The Exalted One was being teased for months, and he was a shadow leader of the Dark Order, controlling the Dark Order like puppets. Evil Uno was standing in the middle of the ring, and he said that the Exalted One is near. And then Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels came out. And he said that the Exalted One is not real. And that was a big mistake, as a vignette played that slowly revealed that Mr. Brodie Lee was the Exalted One. Brodie Lee said that you are not the first out-of-touch old man to not believe in me. Shots fired. He then laid out Frankie Kazarian, and he put Christopher Daniels in the starting position of Sister Abigail, which was an ode to Bray Wyatt, but then released Christopher Daniels from this position and then discus lariated him. Despite being the first AEW show with no fans, this moment was electric because the Exalted One was being teased for months. Brodie Lee's debut was supposed to be in Rochester, New York, which is his home city, so you could imagine the pop that he would have gotten from that crowd would have been crazy. Rest in peace to Mr. Brodie Lee. And at number 7, we have the best man, Miro. Miro debuted on the September 9 edition of AEW Dynamite, as he was revealed as Kip Sabian's best man. Miro came out to the ring dressed as a drip god. I mean, look at that drip. And the crowd was chanting Miro Day as Miro was gyrating his body along to the chants. He said 10 years in the same house, under the same glass ceiling, with an imaginary brass ring. Well, you can take that brass ring and shove it up your ass. Wow, now that's badass. It's the motherfucking Eagle Double G. Snoop Dogg. And at number 6, we have Christian Cage. The Big Show Paul White said that he has a surprise for AEW Revolution and was going to be a Hall of Fame caliber talent. And this set the wrestling world alight, as people speculated greatly about who it could be. And well, the Big Show was not lying. At AEW's Revolution 2021, WWE legend Christian Cage walked out and signed his AEW contract in the middle of the AEW ring. And the 1,300 in attendance for AEW's Revolution were going crazy. Christian Cage was literally in the Royal Rumble 3 weeks prior to debuting in AEW. And at number 5, we have Malakai Black. Malakai Black was released seemingly in the middle of his push in WWE, and he debuted in AEW on the July 7 edition of AEW Dynamite, the first full capacity show in almost 500 days. Earlier in the night before Black's debut, during a Cody Rhodes match, the lights went out, and for a second it seemed like there was just some technical issues, but no. The lights went out again later on in the night as Arn Anderson was about to cut a promo, and when they went back on, Malakai Black, formerly known as Tommy End, and Aleister Black was standing there, and the crowd went nuts. Malakai Black then black masses Arn Anderson, and Cody Rhodes came out for the save, and he black masses Cody Rhodes as well. The crowd went crazy because this was genuinely surprising to see, because in most WWE contracts, they have a 90-day no complete clause when they get released. But Aleister Black debuted in AEW less than 90 days after his contract ended in WWE. And at number 4, we have Kenta. Kenta debuted at AEW's Beach Break in a post-match angle after Omega, Gallows, and Anderson beat Moxley, Park, and Rey Fenix. As Jon Moxley was about to attack Omega, Kenta attacked him from behind and gave him a go to sleep. And this was a huge pop considering the limited capacity in Daily's place at that time. It wasn't so much of Kenta himself being in AEW, it was what Kenta being in AEW meant for the whole wrestling world. Kenta being in AEW showed that there was a working relationship with AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling, which fans have been clamoring for a hot minute. Kenta's debut in AEW will forever be monumental because he was the very first person that went through the forbidden door. And at number 3, we have the icon Sting. The stage is set at AEW's Winter is Coming on December 2, 2020, as Will Hobbs of Team Taz is about to hit Cody Rhodes, and then the lights go out. And this melancholic, eerie music plays with icy images on the Titantron, and it gets revealed that it's Sting. And as snow is falling down, the crowd is going crazy, and Tony Schiavone is marking out over Sting like he did in the 90s in WCW. And Sting has a poker face as he stoically walks down to the ring and looks each generation in the eye, starting from Arn Anderson to Dustin Rhodes, to Cody Rhodes, and then to his youthful parallel in Darby Allin. Sting's debut in AEW came out of nowhere, and prior to the show, there was no indication that he'd show up. This was one of the most perfect debuts I've ever seen in wrestling. It just felt so surreal watching it, and the fans at the venue and online were going crazy as the electricity in the air was just palpable. And at number 2, we have Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley left WWE in less than desirable circumstances, and speculation was rife that he could appear in AEW because of the vignette that he posted online of him breaking out of prison. And then the stage is set. Chris Jericho has just beat Kenny Omega in the main event of AEW's first pay-per-view and is demanding a thank you to the fans. And Jon Moxley makes his grand entrance as he walks through the crowd. And at this moment, the fans are going absolutely nuts. Even just sitting at home watching this, you couldn't believe what was on your TV screen. Jon Moxley jumps the guardrail, he gets into the ring, and Jericho is so shocked to see him, and then he paradigm shifts Chris Jericho, and then he paradigm shifts the ref, and then he stands on the ropes and gestures like he's smelling Renee Young's cooking. And then he brawls with Kenny Omega all the way to the stage set, and attitude adjustments Kenny Omega off the poker chips like his name is John C. And he stands tall with his hands in the air as AEW's first ever pay-per-view goes off the air. This moment was so electric because of what it meant to wrestling fans and the wrestling world in general. Jon Moxley was huge in WWE, and he was part of one of the most popular factions in the last 10 years in wrestling, in The Shield, and he's in AEW. Now that's what you call a paradigm shift. And at number 1, just as you expected, I'm pretty sure you can guess who it is. It's Japanese deathmatch legend Dr. Luther. The Nightmare Collective debuted Japanese deathmatch legend Whoa. Stop! No, but for real though. At number 1, we have CM Punk. CM Punk debuted on the 2nd episode of AEW's Rampage on August 20th, after 7 long years away from wrestling. And this was the most electrifying debut that I and many other people have ever seen. Kudos to AEW because they didn't overcomplicate his debut. CM Punk just kicked off the show as the fans were chanting CM Punk, and his iconic music, Cult of Personality, blasted through the speakers. And there was a massive pop. I mean, even Guinness World Book of Records said that this could be the biggest pop ever. CM Punk walked out and then he kneeled in front of the 15,000 plus people in the United Center in his hometown of Chicago. And then he jumped the guardrails to go and hug all the fans. And at this time, the fans were still going crazy. The whole 15 minutes that he was out there, the crowd were eating straight out of his palm as they popped for everything that he did. And the electricity in the air was tangible. As CM Punk even walked to the ring, he shed a tear, and fans in the stands were even crying. This was just so emotional. CM Punk said that he had heard them chanting this for 7 years. And August 13, 2005, he left professional wrestling, and August 20th, 2021, he's back. In the words of The Rock, this might be the most electrifying debut in all of sports entertainment. No, wait. AEW is not sports entertainment. It's wrestling. Thank you for watching the video. I'd love to know what your favorite debut was. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And follow me on my socials. But anyway, goodbye.